On a peaceful Saturday afternoon in May 2019, a routine mother-daughter walk in Fort Worth, Texas, turned into a parent's worst nightmare.
Help me, please! My daughter just got kidnapped! Help me! Oh my God! Every car just goes off! They just kidnapped my daughter!
80-year-old Salem Sabatka was snatched off the street in broad daylight, igniting a frantic race against time to bring her home safely. The abduction would lead to one of the most heart-stopping rescues in recent history. It was an ordinary spring day. Salem and her mother, Sarah, were taking a walk through their quiet neighborhood when a car pulled up beside them. Before they had time to react, a man grabbed Salem and forced her into the vehicle. Sarah, overcome with terror, fought to stop the kidnapper, screaming and lunging for her daughter. But in mere seconds, the car sped away, leaving Sarah helpless. What followed was every parent's worst nightmare. The abductor, 51-year-old Michael Webb, had seized Salem in a chilling act of opportunistic violence. His motives were unclear, but his actions were cold, calculated, and terrifying. The time between abduction and rescue was a mere 8 hours. But those 8 hours felt like an eternity for Salem's family and the entire Fort Worth community. Immediately after the abduction, Sarah did the only thing she could. She dialed 911, her voice shaking as she described the horror that had just unfolded. As officers arrived at the scene, a sense of urgency gripped them all. They knew that in cases like this, time was critical. The first hours after an abduction are the most important because the window of opportunity to find a missing child shrinks with every passing minute. The Fort Worth Police Department immediately launched an Amber Alert. As the alert was broadcast across the state, Salem's photo and the description of the dark sedan that Webb had been driving appeared on television screens and smartphones. The public was now on high alert, but would it be enough to save the little girl? The abduction sent shockwaves through the tight-knit Texas community. Neighbors, friends, and strangers rallied together, searching for any clues that could lead to Salem's whereabouts. Among those deeply impacted were 2 church members, Jeff King and his friend Carrie. They had no connection to the family, but when they saw the Amber Alert and recognized the urgency of the situation, they knew they had to act. That same night, Jeff and Carrie began driving around the streets. They were searching for any sign of the vehicle described in the alert. The hours stretched on as they scoured the area, refusing to give up hope. Then, as if by some divine intervention, they spotted a car, parked outside a nearby hotel called
Woodspring Suites.
The car matched the description in the Amber Alert perfectly. The adrenaline surged through their bodies. They quickly called the police, reporting their findings. The police arrived at the hotel within minutes. What happened next would change the course of Salem Sabatka's life forever. Officers stormed the hotel, sweeping through the building until they reached room 333.
Fort Police Department, open the door! Open the door! Open it now!
Behind that door was the man who had taken Salem, the man who had stolen a child from her family, and who had no intention of letting her go. In a moment that felt like it had been ripped straight from a crime thriller, the officers burst into the room.
Break it. Open it! Door. Hands! Let me see your hands! Step out here! Step out! Get on the ground. Get on the ground! Chill, 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 blood in the bed, blood in the bed. Blood in the bed, man. Hey, here she is. Got her. We got her. We got her. We got her.
There
Hidden under a pile of clothes
was Salem. Her face was pale, her eyes wide with fear, but she was alive. Michael Webb was found hiding in the room's bathroom. The officers quickly apprehended Webb, handcuffing him on the spot. It was a moment of both relief and disbelief. Salem was safe.
Hey, back off, guys. Back off. Please, just back off.
Riz, they found her. They found her. We have her.
Hey, Hayes, let's go. Let's get her in here so she can sit down. Guys, listen. Just stay there for me, okay? Hey, do me a favor. Can you?
This is the father.
Okay. Just hold on, okay?
What is this place called? What's this place?
It's the Woodbridge Suites.
Woodward Suites?
It's in Forest Hill.
But what about those harrowing hours she spent with Webb? In the hours after Salem Sabatka's abduction, Michael Webb took her to a hotel in Forest Hill, Texas, where he checked in under a false name. During the time they were in the hotel, Webb subjected Salem to repeated assaults. The young girl was terrified and confused, forced to comply with her kidnapper's commands. According to trial testimonies, Webb tried to manipulate Salem, instructing her to hide in the bathroom when someone knocked on the door.
What did you say to scare her, Michael?
I told her that if she said anything, that I would do something to her parents. And if I was in jail, I would have my friends to do it.
Despite her fear, Salem had no choice but to obey. At one point, the hotel manager and a housekeeper briefly entered the room for a welfare check. Webb had hidden Salem under a pile of laundry, convincing the staff that everything was fine. His deception allowed him to continue holding her captive. Testimonies during the trial revealed the deep trauma Salem experienced during those hours. Salem's mother testified about the profound impact the ordeal had on her daughter, while Salem herself shared chilling details. Salem described how Webb ordered her to be quiet and remain hidden under blankets when people came near the room. Her innocence was shattered, but her bravery during the trial was evident as she recounted those terrifying moments. The ordeal finally ended, and Salem was returned to her family, but the trauma of those 8 hours would remain. The aftermath of the abduction left many lingering questions. Why did Webb choose Salem? What drove him to commit such a heinous act? In the weeks that followed, as the case went to trial, Webb's dark past began to emerge. He had a history of violent behavior and had been involved in previous crimes, although nothing as brazen as kidnapping a child in broad daylight. The community in Fort Worth grappled with the shock. Many couldn't help but wonder, what if it had been their child? Salem's abduction highlights how quickly life can change. One moment, she was walking with her mother in their neighborhood, and the next, she was being dragged into a car by a stranger. The fear that every parent lives with became a chilling reality. The bravery of church members Jeff King and Kerry, who took matters into their own hands that night, cannot be overstated. Without their determination to find Salem, the story could have ended very differently. In fact, it's rare for civilians to directly locate an abducted child so quickly, and their actions undoubtedly saved Salem's life. This case also underscores the importance of Amber Alerts and community vigilance. Michael Webb was swiftly brought to justice. In November 2019, he was sentenced to life in prison for the kidnapping. The sentence ensured that Webb would never again have the chance to harm another child. While the outcome of Salem's story is one of survival and hope, the impact of her abduction will likely stay with her and her family for the rest of their lives. But for every story with a happy ending, there are countless others that don't turn out this way. We must remain vigilant, stay aware, and always remember, every second counts when a child's life is at risk. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the story and want to hear more, please support the channel by liking the video and subscribing. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. Your support helps us continue sharing these important stories. See you next time.